acknowledge members of Parliament, March Whanau and 𝗃𝗶𝗿𝘁, as well as my colleague, Councillor 𝗃𝗶𝗿𝗁. I'm also going to acknowledge my sister today, 𝗃𝗶𝗿𝗁. We don't often get to come to a special occasion like this together, so thank you for having us both here. I acknowledge our local Muslim communities in 𝗃𝗶𝗿𝗁 Christchurch and all those who've joined us on the live stream. And can I also acknowledge senior members of the public service who are here today as well, 𝗃𝗶𝗿𝗀𝗃 from the Ministry of Ethnic Communities, and 𝗃𝗶𝗿𝗄𝗏 𝗃𝗶𝗿𝗀𝗃 from the Ministry of Social Development. And can I also thank and acknowledge the Race Relations Commissioner for being here today. From the Human Rights Commission, 𝗃𝗶𝗿𝗄𝗏 is greatly. I see you again here today, and all the other special guests. But finally, I wanted to acknowledge the importance of collaboration, and that collaboration is seen here today with 𝗃𝗵𝗶𝘀, the Muslim Association of Canterbury, and the 15th of March Whanau Trust, who have brought us here today. Thank you all of you for your incredible work. I'm incredibly proud to be here as the Mayor of our city as we come up to the 3rd anniversary of the 15th of March. The reason that I'm proud is because of the way the community has invited us all to reflect on that time in love, peace and unity. Aroha, rangi and 𝗃𝗶𝗿𝗁𝗃. Values that bring meaning to and enrich all of our lives. Islamic Awareness Week, which is designed to showcase the real meaning and teachings of Islam, encourages us all to cultivate connectedness and a sense of community. That is 𝗃𝗶𝗿𝗀𝗃 in action. When we as a council placed a message on Facebook to say that we had heard from the community this year about how you wanted to lead this year's commemoration of the events of March 15, with the Islamic Awareness Week leading up to the 15th of March, and a Unity Week leading from the 15th of March. One of the messages we received back on the Facebook page said this: "I'm happy that the bereaved families have made their voices heard and have been listened to. I don't yet have the words apart from saying, I am here and I stand with you." And that represents the feelings of so many people. The words, I am here and I stand with you, are powerful, yet they seem inadequate to describe how we feel. But when you think about what they really mean, they are more powerful than we think at first, because they are literally what love, peace and unity stand for. I am here and I stand with you. When I reflect on that time 3 years ago, for me those words are reflected in the actions of those who turned up for the call to prayer 1 week after the attack. The wider community wasn't asked to come. They weren't invited. They just came in their thousands. It was the most powerful expression of solidarity I have ever witnessed. Everyone who was there could feel it. I'm here says I am present. I empathise with you. I recognise your humanity and I love you as a brother or a sister. And I stand with you says I support you. I will walk alongside you and defend you. I have got your back. And we heard the powerful words of the Imam with Masjid Al-Nur as a somber backdrop. This terrorist sought to tear our nation apart with an evil ideology that has torn the world apart. But instead we have shown that New Zealand is unbreakable and that the world can see in us an example of love and unity. Remembering that time for peace, love and unity helps us all to remember what is important in life. even when we are confronted with the very worst of man's inhumanity to man. I want to thank the 15th of March Whanau Trust, along with the other community-led groups that have formed as a result of what happened on that day, for your wisdom, your courage, and your leadership. Each of these groups has been born of tragedy, inspired by compassion, and empowered by generosity. And it is in the spirit of reciprocity that I acknowledge the work we all have to continue to do to keep the essence of that compassion alive. Thank you again for inviting us to share this special occasion as you launch Islamic Awareness Week in love, peace and unity. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Honourable 𝗃𝗶𝗀𝗀, for your speech. I would like to invite Member of Parliament 𝗃𝗶𝗀𝗀 for a speech. Thank you. Can I first also start with acknowledging the Honourable 𝗃𝗶𝗀𝗀, the Mayor of Christchurch, my colleague, my parliamentary colleague, 𝗃𝗶𝗂𝗀𝗀, our Press Commissioner from Human Rights Commission, 𝗃𝗶𝗀𝗀𝗀, and Councillor 𝗃𝗶𝗀𝗀𝗀, and also our guests from 𝗃𝗶𝗀𝗀𝗀, and all of you who have attended here today. Assalamu alaikum. 3 years ago, we were hit by a tragedy that had to imagine that all of us could never thought of happen in Christchurch, in Christchurch in New Zealand. 13 years ago, I've chosen New Zealand as a refugee. One of the first questions I was asked was if I wanted to come to New Zealand before we proceeded this interview. And they said, tell me something about New Zealand, because I didn't know anything about this country. And the immigration officer told me it's a peaceful, safe country. And after that, I didn't ask any other questions, because since I was 16, I was sick and tired of looking over my shoulder. And then I ended up coming 6 months after the interview, and New Zealand never supported me. The day this tragedy happened, I was in the meeting. I was working for the trade union, also chairing Changemakers organization that looks after our refugees locally in Wellington. And the general manager texted me. She said, "You hear what's happening in Christchurch?" I said, "What?" And she said, "There is a shooting in the mosque." So I thought, it's just one of, every day now and then we hear about shootings in the media. I thought it's just one crazy person, maybe a couple of shots and run away. And then she told me it's serious. People, there is fatalities. And straight away jumped into social media, and the news was unfolding at the time. And I actually thought it was the end of New Zealand, peaceful image of New Zealand as we knew it. But until 5 o'clock, I was lost. Couldn't say a word. Went back to my office, surrounded by my colleagues, just watching in the horror, things unfolding. And the first thing was the Prime Minister's press conference. She came out strong, and she called the event what it was a terror attack on New Zealand and the US. And then what happened was all the love and our at the time, it's really within a couple of hours, it's restored my faith in New Zealand and in humanity as well. And the rest is history. We all knew. A couple of days later, we did this big memorial in Wellington where about 25,000 people turned out. I was one of the speakers. And it's something that I will never remember. I think that's how we would like to remember New Zealand, because I think many speakers said that the terrorists did not just want to take lives, few lives. He wanted to turn us against each other. And he wanted us to fight Muslims, non-Muslims, whites, browns, but he utterly failed like brothers, the speaker said earlier. So this is how we would like to remember New Zealand and New Zealanders, and the memory of those who passed away, those who died in this tragic accident is quite fresh, and no one even remembers this terrorist now. He's already forgotten, and he's gonna rot in prison until the day that he dies. But in saying this, while we have made a lot of progress, but we still have a long way to go in regard to our race relations. And all of us have a part to play in making New Zealand more welcoming, more open, and we need to educate ourselves. Education is a key. And this person obviously was brought up in the environment that was full of hatred for others, for people that he didn't like, for people who did not look like him. But at the end of the day, we are. Can you hear me? Oh. Okay. Should I stop? Yes. What was on that?
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
When it's time for prayer, we drop everything. That's more important. So what I'm trying to say is that we have made a lot of progress in New Zealand. I think we are one now. This guy united us more than ever. New Zealanders didn't know anything about the Muslim community in New Zealand. I think maybe with few exceptions. New Zealanders start to learn about us as a community, and I'm so proud of the way that our community has responded. We actually, instead of with hatred, we responded with love, opened our homes, opened our arms, and we allowed New Zealanders to get to know us. And alhamdulillah, that is, and this man utterly failed. This medicine doesn't mean that others will never try again, because this world is full of hatred, misinformed people, people who chosen to get out of their way to listen to wrong information. I think, even though it's a different context about what's been happening last week in Wellington, people who were full of hatred, misinformed, who wanted to kill people, who wanted to kill politicians, who were just doing their job. And my friend said, I can tell you, for 13 years I've never looked over my shoulder since I left Eritrea. For the first time, I started looking on my shoulder the last few weeks because people out there are hungry who want to kill me because just for doing my job and my colleagues. So we should not allow, we should not open any cracks for people who hate us for who we are as a nation. Because that was attack, it was not just an attack on the Muslim community, it was an attack on our unity, diversity, and the multiculturalism, and our attack on the image of New Zealand as one of the safest countries in the world. And for 2 hours, this terrorist made me doubt of that safety. But a few hours later, because of the way that New Zealand leadership and the 5 million responded, my faith was straight away restored. So thank you for the March Whanau Trust and the sister Maha who have been in touch with me in the last few weeks. We've been working very hard, and the others, of course, and the 𝗃𝗲𝗀𝗀 for collaborating and putting this together, and the MEG for welcoming us and having us here today. Every year we will keep the memory of our Shuhada fresh. We will remember them. We will never forget them, because that's how we're going to learn from what happened that day. And we're going to work harder than ever in making New Zealand safe, in making New Zealanders united even further. Thank you so much. I also want to forget to acknowledge our Imam Jamal, who was the symbol of the unity on the day. His speech, which went global, which I think I got so much inspiration from his speech on the day. We are broken hearted, but we are not broken nation. That's very powerful. Thank you, 𝗃𝗲𝗀𝗀 𝗁𝗲.
Thank you very much, Member of Parliament, for being on with us. I'm personally inspired by your story, so I'll share this speech. I'd like to invite 𝗃𝗲𝗀𝗀 from Plans to come. Thank you.
نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم السلام عليكم. First of all, I would like to acknowledge the first citizens of this city, 𝗃𝗶𝗶𝗀𝗀𝗃, the members of the Parliament, 𝗃𝗶𝗶𝗀𝗀 and Sarah, the Restoration Commissioner, 𝗃𝗶𝗶𝗀𝗀, 𝗃𝗶𝗶𝗀𝗃, and more importantly, the organizers of this event, who are kindling the light and reminding us of the day of horror which we were confronted with as a community. We like to acknowledge to the members of the community, and today on behalf of our President, 𝗃𝗏𝗀𝗃, who couldn't come here, I stand in front of you to say, as a national organization of Muslims, we stand for unity, we stand for peace, and we stand for collective growth of our community, our country, our people together. In the background, I would like to remember particularly the 51 Shuhadas who are no longer with us, their families, those who were injured, and those who witnessed the horror. You all are always in our hearts. We will never forget you. And this country of ours will never forget you. Sorry, I recall I was in Dubai at that time, just joking with two American and two British friends having dinner, and they were teasing me, "You are living in God's zone." And 2 o'clock in the morning, I received a message from police. Something horrible has happened. I was on a business trip. I just quickly organized myself and said that I want to return home. I came home and straight I left my luggage at home and I took my 12-year-old daughter, then rushed to our mosque in Hamilton City. And the word from this terrified young girl was that they had to pay us. And as a dad, I want to assure you, we are in the best place on this planet Earth. And what followed after that restored my trust in people, in our people. So, but sorry, it's because this place is very dear to me. I was the youngest student when this place was open. I came here, and the people who passed, who were killed, and that event number, they were first my friends. So I'm sure that will excuse me, not being able to control myself. But to say that we will remember the day, this day has to come together. We'll remember this day that we have defeated an evil plan. We'll remember this day that no one in this country or in this world should suffer the way what happened to people here. We are a country of peace. We are a country of love, and we certainly are a country of coming together and supporting each other. We wish you all the very best, and Fiance and our national organization, Umbrella Organization, stands with you, with every person who stands for the right reasons. We are always there to help whatever we can. Thank you very much. You are right.
Thank you very much, Brother Anwar. That was very touching. And thanks to fans for support, for drawings and paintings you can see, and for the live stream. A few of us are going to pray, so we'll just take a break for 5 minutes, if that's okay. And we'll resume shortly afterwards. Thank you.
And ممكن
Brothers and sisters, would you please take a seat? We're about to resume. Thank you very much, Brother, for your very inspiring speech. I would now like to invite Dr. 𝗃𝗶𝗿𝗁 and 𝗃𝗶𝗿𝗁 from the Funeral Trust to come up here and present. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. 𝗃𝗶𝗿𝗁. Greetings. My name is 𝗃𝗶𝗿𝗁.
My name is Dr. 𝗃𝗶𝗿𝗁.
We'd like to thank you, first of all, thank you very much for this opportunity for us to be able to talk to you. And it's about the 15th March Funeral Trust, the 𝗃𝗶𝗿𝗁 Funeral Trust. We want to talk to you about why it's important, and we'd like you to consider something. So first of all, what is the 15th March 𝗃𝗶𝗿𝗁 Funeral Trust? And it's been recently established, and it's a registered charitable trust. It's been set up to assist those people who are unable to afford the full cost of burial of their loved ones in the Canterbury area. It's interfaith across all faiths, and it comes with the proviso that priority will be given to the victims of the mosque shootings on 15th March 2019.
And for Muslim burials, we will also provide more trained volunteers to perform ghusl and kafan, which is the washing and shrouding of the body. We will organize training for women and men with the help of our Muslim brothers and sisters often. Volunteers for burials in other faiths will be an option as we learn more.
So first of all, I'll let you know who's in the team. It's not just us two. There are 5 trustees and 3 volunteers or supporters. And we're led by Maha Jalal, our driving force and chairperson. And our co-treasurers are Dr. 𝗃𝗶𝗿𝗁 and Amber Naeem. Our secretary is myself, and we also have our 5th trustee who is 𝗃𝗶𝗿𝗁. Our supporters are Insha Aziz, 𝗃𝗶𝗿𝗁 and Abi Mubon.
Now you know what it is, and you have a good idea of why this is so important. Every soul shall taste death. Both Sue and myself are part of the trust and will explain why it is important to us personally. I'm a PhD in microbiology and a researcher and advisor by profession. Christchurch has been my home for the past 8 years. On March 15, 2019, I lost my pillar of strength, my beloved husband here at Al-Nur Masjid. Since then, I've been through overwhelming pain, challenges, and despair. Despite my grief, I've been keenly involved in the well-being of other affected families, Muslim and wider communities. Since the attacks, we recognize the developments that are in place in the society in regards to people getting to know more about Islam and Muslims in our 𝗃𝗶𝗀𝗀. I feel privileged to be a part of 𝗃𝗶𝗿𝗁 Funeral Trust, and my vision is to provide support and assistance to the deserving community members to get some burden off their shoulders in the time of severe torment.
And as a member of the non-Muslim community, I'm a born and bred 𝗃𝗶𝗀𝗀, and I've lived in Christchurch for most of my life. And I'm passionate about our city. I need to be because I've been here a lot of years. And I love Canterbury as a whole. I grew up in an area where families struggle, and families struggling was the norm. So that shaped my view of the world and has helped the way that I think about things. And I'm not sorry for that. When the mosque attacks happened, I was working for the Christchurch City Council, and I was hugely privileged to be able to help with the logistical support over that following week. It affected me very deeply, and I felt powerless to make a real difference. It was for my fellow citizens, it wasn't, it was the whole community, and it's such a dreadful time. What it did though, it broadened my knowledge of the Muslim faith and the different cultures, and for that I'm very grateful. And it was so obvious to me from that we were one. So when the opportunity arose for me to be of some further assistance, the 𝗃𝗶𝗿𝗁 Funeral Trust seemed a good way to do something practical that also had a whole community focus, showing that we truly are one. So the big question is, how are we going to do this? So the Trust is seeking donations, either one-off or regular ones, from people. We'll also be doing some fundraising once we feel more established and ready to do that. The money that's donated will go to supporting burials for those who cannot afford this. So when you donate, you can choose an account for Muslims or for other faiths, remembering that this is an interfaith trust. And so we encourage you, we ask you to donate what you can. And note that as a registered charitable trust, it means that 33.33% of every dollar is returned from the IRD, depending on what your income is. So if you'd like more information, you can contact any of us on the trust, or you can Google 𝗃𝗶𝗿𝗁 Funeral Trust. 𝗃𝗶𝗿𝗁, for those of you who are present, is 𝗃𝗃𝗄𝗃𝗃𝗃. And if you are present, there are flyers in the bags underneath your seats. And so that's where you'll find the bank account numbers. So, shukran, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Sue and Dr. Kieran, for a very useful trust. I would now like to play a video from Saudi Arabia. It's from 𝗃𝗶𝗿𝗁 from the Muslim World League, and it should be playing on the screen very shortly.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. ولا تحسبن الذين قتلوا في سبيل الله أمواتا بل أحياء عند ربهم يرزقون. On 15th of March 2019, 51 martyrs were shot in Al-Nur Mosque and Linwood Mosque, and more than 48 were injured. The Shuhada, they live with their bodies, but their heart and their soul is still living among their families, among the community. Islam teaches us to exchange the trust and the respect, and to treat other people with kindness and with coincidence. Hatred doesn't help anyone, neither Muslims nor non-Muslims. What I have witnessed in Christchurch from the families of martyrs and injured, they stayed fast, strongly, and united. With their belief, it becomes their relief of the sadness. Believing in Allah gives the heart a peaceful feeling. The martyrs, they will be shufa'a for their families, will be shufa'a for their loved ones. It's not easy to lose the person that you love in the same scenario which was took place in the Friday. But with the strong belief of the families, of the community, they believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen them for the better place. So they are waiting for you and waiting for us in the paradise. Islam is the peaceful religion. Therefore, Muslims World League made a couple years ago, or several years ago, the international conference about the dangers of classifying and excluding among communities. Islam encourage and command his followers to respect the rights of Muslims or non-Muslims, to respect the right of a human, even the animals. Islam is a peaceful religion that other non-believers should learn and should read from the book, the Holy Quran and the Sunnah, and don't take any other resources from different parts of the world. If you'd like to know me, talk to me, not to listen about me. Just talk to Allah by the Holy Quran and read His message, His words, were translated from Arabic to different languages. This is the speech of Allah toward you as a human. Read them carefully, think about them. You'll find there is no gap about the reality and His commands. The Holy Quran is respecting all holy books came before. As Muslims, we do believe in all prophets and messengers who came before the Prophet, peace be upon him, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So please read about Islam, understand it, and talk about it. You'll find all answers for all your questions. Islam respects you as a human. Islam respects your life. And we do believe that we are temporarily living on this earth, and our place is there with Him in paradise. We are not belong to the earth, we belong to paradise. You have to learn that, and you have to understand that. Excluding people is the most dangerous things. Living with coexistence, with acceptance, with tolerance is the message of Islam. Dear brothers and sisters in Christchurch, we live among you within this terrorist attack, and we believe that you are strong, and you are stronger than any saddened, any other issues of life. Stay together, stay united. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
And we will send you a link to the video for those that weren't able to listen, that we worked technically for the last stream. Before I ask just a minute to do the closing speech, I'd like to invite Brother 𝗃𝗶𝗀𝗀 to come up here and explain about his painting. Just to clarify, he provided all of the paintings and all of the artwork that you can see around the room, which has been very fantastic. Please come. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. That was a quite very long time to prepare for this. My name is 𝗃𝗶𝗀𝗀 Trust, and I'm a Islamic calligrapher. I do Arabic calligraphy with my wife, who will be here today. So I'm not sure if whether he knows. I was also on the same flight when he was returning from Dubai. So I was coming from Pakistan with my wife, and we were transiting from Dubai where we get to know about this news. So that's what the journey was very stressful. We couldn't believe like this thing can happen in New Zealand as well. So yeah, and you can see like all those 15 martyrs and their families, they have brought the whole country together. We are all together just because of them. So how the New Zealand community stood with the Muslim community of New Zealand, that was really great. And I really thank them. So last year, 15th March 2020, we were thinking about like how can we do something and how can we remember the 15 martyrs of Christ. And then we decided like why not work on a painting, and we named this painting as 51. And the theme of this painting was love, peace, and unity. As you can see, we used this love, peace, and unity within the map of New Zealand, throughout New Zealand, which is New Zealand is all about love, peace, and unity. It's a diverse painting. So, and it is written in 10 different languages within the map, love, peace, and unity. And these are the languages of those 51 martyrs they used to speak. And in the background, you will see these are the names of those 15 martyrs written in that language. And the color, the background color, which was black color, because we wanted to give it a very peaceful thought, because it was also an inspiration from 𝗃𝗶𝗏. 𝗃𝗶𝗏 is the color of over the house of God, which is Kaaba in Saudi Arabia. So that was the inspiration. Like we wanted to do something on that color, the flag. So yeah, alhamdulillah, this painting got very good appreciation in Wellington. I wanted to unveil this in Christchurch back in 2020, but unfortunately couldn't make that connection. But this was unveiled in Wellington Museum, and then it was on display in the Parliament for 1 month. And it was on news and displayed in a couple of art galleries as well. So our idea is like to do a kind of road show and take it to the whole country. So yeah, I'm quite happy like if this can be displayed somewhere here in Christchurch Museum or any gallery where people Christchurch can come and see this painting. And other than that, this is our small collection. If you have any question about these paintings, just ask me. I'm just trying to write in you, and I can also write your name and I'm getting happy. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, brother, for your speech and for your paintings. It's truly a masterpiece. Thank you. And now for the final speech, I'd like to invite 𝗃𝗲𝗀𝗀 from the March Whanau Trust. Thank you.
Actually, it's not very good but I would like to thank you all. And actually, special thanks for the time you understood what I'm doing and why I asked all of you, March family, to stay at home to keep safe. And please forgive me if anyone gets important. And the consequences came here. I really appreciate it. I know it's quite challenging for all of us to come together to work because of the partner. And I would like to acknowledge Megan because she was intended to come here, but because of health issue, she's not. And also my team. I would like to give a big thanks for 𝗃𝗶𝗀𝗀. Thank you, Brother Rashid and Ahmed, our IT man, and Ahmed, of course. And especially thank you to our follower, Naeem, who is not with us here because he had COVID last week and he's still as concerned. Actually, I'm lucky and done a lot of work to make this work. I hope it will work good, inshallah. And actually, I really know that the idea of Islam is for everyone in Islam. You know that we are always looking for peace and love. This is the right step. Thank you so much. Our invitation for refreshments is useful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You are very lady from very well prepared. She is like my daughter, by the way. I'm 72 years old. But I'm very sure she is very, very helpful lady. She is responding awareness for her, especially during this time when she is non-stop walking everywhere with all families, with lots of road everywhere, it can be support. So, mashallah, I pray to Allah for her family, and she is a mom, she has 3 children, and a husband. So, mashallah, she is one of we are really very appreciated. We are very appreciative. She is a strong woman. Thank you so much.